So now you're finally going to see what this funny picture is. So, as you've already heard, at age 18, I left my home in Southern California, and I went to Israel for what I thought would be 6 months. 6 months later, I told my parents that I'm staying in Israel. And a year and a half later, I was drafted into the Israeli Defense Force. Now, my good luck was that I was drafted into the Navy. So although I had people who I didn't really like telling me what to do, and usually telling me to do things that I thought were pretty stupid, I had the advantage of being able to go to the beach at lunchtime and after hours. So it worked out, and that compensated, and overall, I transitioned into maturity. After 2 years in the military, I was discharged. I left the kibbutz, moved to a rented apartment in Tel Aviv, and looked for work. Being fluent in both Hebrew and English, I was lucky enough to get a job with a small charter airline called Ma'of in the ground operations department. Let's see if this really works. And the only trouble was Ma'of went bankrupt about a year later, so I worked as a travel agent, I waitressed, and I tutored English until I heard that Pan American World Airways, I don't know where to put this, Pan American, well, shows how old I am, Pan American World Airways was going to start flying into Tel Aviv. That's me, it's a big plane. So I got the job in ground operations, and I transitioned into the world of travel. Free tickets are the most amazing perk you can ever have with any job. I traveled to Europe, Thailand, the Philippines, Egypt. My kids don't know, I was in New Orleans on New Year's Eve, and more. Traveling on my own or with a friend left me open to meeting and talking with total strangers. And I don't remember anything bad ever happening to me. I had so many amazing and interesting experiences. One time in Thailand, my friend and I were out hiking in a national park, and we decided to rent a room and spend the night. Never assume, because after we rented our room, we discovered there was nowhere to eat. No restaurants, no stores. So we were walking around feeling very sorry for ourselves. And some park rangers noticed our distress and invited us into their homes for a meal. I don't know what we ate, but we were so hungry, it was delicious. And just speaking with hand signs, there was laughter and kindness, and I transitioned into the knowledge that people are interesting, kind, and helpful everywhere in the world. In 1991, Pan American went bankrupt, and Delta Airlines was my new boss. I was given the position of accountant, which today is actually paying off. It's given me a little bit of a background in doing my own accounting. I didn't really like working in accounting, but it's really hard to give up free tickets. Delta Airlines stopped flying to Israel in 1995, but those free tickets did pay off. After a weekend visiting my good friends in Brussels, on the flight back to Tel Aviv, I met my husband, Adi, and the rest is history. I had a few more jobs working in administrative positions when the biggest transition of all occurred. Oh, I missed the travel ones here. I'm sorry, I forgot to put those up. So this is me traveling the world. I really travel, we all want our kids to stay home with us. I have to tell you now, as a mother, travel is the greatest education. Anywhere you can go in the world and get yourself, not just sit on the tour bus, but talk to people, it's the greatest education you can ever have. And we have here my park rangers. And this is motherhood. What a transition. Until then, I'd never really planned anything. I just flowed and transitioned and went from place to place and job to job, and things seemed to work out pretty well. Motherhood caused me to think really hard about what direction I wanted my life to take. I knew that I hated sitting in an office, and I didn't want to be a mother who comes home every day in a bad mood. One day I saw an ad for a course on healing your children with alternative medicine, so I signed up. And this was my first experience learning anything about the body. And after that, I took a 2-year course on reflexology, and I discovered that I really loved what I was doing. I liked learning about the body, and I liked helping people. I was still thinking about what direction I wanted my life to take, and a friend suggested to me that I combine my love of swimming with helping people. And I went to study hydrotherapy. And this is what I've been seeking. I spent the next few years studying how to help people with physical injuries and syndromes overcome and rehabilitate in warm water therapy pools. Lots of things you can do with people in warm water pools. I worked at the Chaim Shiva Rehabilitation Medical Center in Israel with victims of car accidents, train crashes, terror attacks, and various chronic syndromes. On one of my first days of work, my supervisor called my name and pointed to my next patient, and I was horrified. He was an ex-hydro employee who had been electrocuted. He'd had two legs and one arm amputated, and I thought there was surely nothing I could teach this man. And I was right. He taught me. He taught me that everyone is capable of moving. He taught me how grateful he was that he still had one arm in order to hug his children in life. And he taught me that attitude is everything. It was very emotional to work with someone like this who, despite what most of us would think is insurmountable, his attitude was just so positive. And I transitioned into patience, compassion, and a passion for my profession. In August 2006, my family and I moved to Toronto, and I found a job as a hydrotherapist at a physiotherapy clinic in Maple. For 6 years, I worked together with a great staff of physiotherapists and chiropractors. I learned a lot from my colleagues, and I learned a lot about Canadian healthcare. I also learned that a lot of people seem to need physiotherapy simply because they're not exercising at all, or they're exercising incorrectly. I began thinking holistically, treating not only the specific injury, but the person as a whole, and helping them to move in a more correct way, in a more comfortable way, and with ease. When the physiotherapy clinic went bankrupt, it seems to be a trend in my life, in 2014, I realized that I must once again reinvent myself, and I certified as a personal trainer. After interviewing at a couple of gyms, I decided that gyms aren't always such friendly environments, especially for the staff, and that it's time to stop making a lot of money for other people and to start trying to make some money for myself. And thus, I formed Excercise with Care. As an in-home personal trainer, I work with people who are not comfortable exercising. I use my knowledge and experience from working in rehabilitation facilities. And over the years, I've seen people struggle with health issues that really have seemed insurmountable. The amazing thing that I've learned from so many patients is that when they overcome their health issues, they often transition into a happier life. I've had ex-patients reach out to me and tell me how they've changed careers, they've changed relationships, and they no longer feel bound by the expectations of others. And they realize that if pain and helplessness can be overcome, they can do anything. Now I'm transitioning into being the mother of very mature children who often remind me that they know much more than I do. I'm studying also how to relieve pain through brain and sensory exercises, which combined with traditional exercise have just an amazing outcome. I've moved to different continents and homes and changed careers and personal status about 20 times since leaving California. But the real transitions are my attitudes and beliefs about the world and myself. It was really easy to move into a new home. It's much harder to move into a new way of thinking. I no longer try to change other people. I continue to strive to change myself and transform myself into being a more knowledgeable, compassionate, and positive person. I try to bring a better version of myself into every exercise session and every relationship. And now I would like very much to thank Marge Andre for encouraging me to participate in Entrepreneurs in Residence. Writing down my story has given me the chance to reflect on my life. I'm usually, like most of us here, so busy working and doing and taking care that I don't really think about what's going on with me. Last December, I took a leap of faith. I quit my day job at the physiotherapy clinic in order to devote all of my energy to exercise for care. And starting my own business was a huge challenge, and it's really easy to get caught up in the perception that profits define success. And I have to tell you, I was feeling a little bit down over the previous months, thinking I'm not earning enough, I'm not successful. And then I wrote up my story. And I've realized that I have raised 3 amazing children. I have been blessed with jobs that I loved and I was good at. I started Exercise with Care to help people. I'm passionate about my work. I am successful.